Welcome to The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to Whole Health Weekly. I got a little crowd, so I like it. If you guys are on there, go ahead and shoot some comments too. So Wednesday nights are always going to be about looking into holistic trends and topics and news that is coming out this week. So with that said, a lot of times I'll look for trends. My office manager, Gina, sends me some cool TikTok information to see what's like hot on there. A lot of time, because there's a lot of information that comes through throughout, holistic health. And are they good? Are they bad? Who knows, right? So I want to understand from a holistic perspective how you can approach those and get it rolling. So with that said, the first thing we do on Wednesday night is go through there's 33 chiropractic principles. Okay. These principles are what we found a lot of the chiropractic on. And so what we're going to do is go through it. Now, this is episode 11. So we're on principle number 11. So without boring you with by the way, if you want to hear all of the different principles and the different ones, I'm going to put in the chat our Rumble channel. It's pretty easy to discern, to see, the timeline. It's all the Whole Health Weekly ones. So you can go back to episode 1 and listen to, chiropractic principle 1. And so they all kind of lead into each other, which is kind of cool. But I like to do this just from my chiropractic heart. I've always wanted to do this with these principles because they're so important. And once you see them in action, they start making sense. So instead, I'm not going to read all of them tonight. I'm going to just go over the one principle, which is principle 11 tonight, and kind of explain it. And then we'll go on to the rest of it. So rest of the news, because I got some good ones, I think, this week. So it should be good. Okay. So this one is principle number 11. Okay. So it's called the character of universal forces. The forces of universal intelligence are manifested as physical laws, are unswerving and unadapted, and have no solicitude for structures and matter. Okay. So the reason this is important is the chiropractic breaks the world into two different intelligences. There's the universal intelligence, which is the earth, the environment with which we're in, environmental intelligence, right? So think of gravity, think of evaporation, the physics of water going in from the ground up, clouds. All of those are this intelligent nature that we're living in, essentially nature's intelligence. Okay. So what this is saying is it's unwavering, unswerving. It's for the entire universe to, function as it will. And so who knows, we haven't even touched, we start getting into quantum mechanics and, there's a lot to that universal intelligence that we're learning about now. Right. But, we have so much to learn still. Right. And, that's the neatest thing. But one of the things that chiropractic is so strong on is that we have within our bodies, within our own matter, right? This innate intelligence, this intelligence within us that allows our body to adapt to these universal forces or nature. Okay. So that's how we look at the body, that there's an innate intelligence within us in each cell of the human body that is so intelligent, and its job is to adapt us to this natural or universal intelligence. So we make this perfect cohesion as this goes. Okay. So that's kind of taking that from that perspective. It can help you understand health and healing too. So with our innate intelligence, like what we always say, our body needs no help because it's got the intelligence in it. It just needs no interference. And that's our job, is to make sure that we are as healthy and vibrant and taking care of those cells of our body as best we can. Then the universal intelligence that we live in will be easier to adapt around. So hopefully that makes sense. Because once you start looking at it that way, in a holistic health wise, it changes what you do as far as like your health and vitality, right? So it's interesting. I always use, like last week, we used the fever analogy. Your body uses its innate intelligence to increase a fever when there's like a bug or something going on, like a microbe or whatever within you. Is that fever good or bad? It's actually really, really good, because your body's increasing the heat within your body to activate these cells to move around, and that immune system's able to go in and start attacking or whatever the foreign invader that's in there. And so a lot of times this innate intelligence within, as long as it's not interfered with, can really punch you through. And most of you, and give me a thumbs up or anything, if you've ever had the one where you felt sick the day, got the huge fever, maybe even shivers, and the next day you felt good, right? That happens a little bit, right? A lot of times kids will be like that, look like death warmed over, and then all of a sudden the next day they're like running around, right? And it's because the the innate intelligence within was able to combat whatever bug was in there. Sometimes but us as humans, we think we're smarter than the innate intelligence sometimes. So we'll take a fever reducer. And so sometimes that fever reducer will actually make that situation last weeks, months, those kind of things, because we are manipulating the intelligence of the body. So that's how, understanding innate intelligence and universal intelligence can really help you in discerning this the nature of things. Okay. So that's what I had for you tonight. And it's principle number 11 of the 33 chiropractic principles. So there's that. So let's go into, Gina. I'll start with Gina's ones on the TikTok. Okay. So she said, is high fiber a yes or no? And then the next question, we'll go into the next question in a minute. So is high fiber a yes or no? That's interesting, because fiber is always good. It just depends. The problem is that we make synthetic fibers and we think that's good. So there's a lot of fiber, like food companies, and a lot of times it's not as good. Did you know, eating vegetables has a ton of fiber in it? Right? A lot of different vegetables have a ton of fiber. And so what happens is like we get caught up in fiber supplements to do it. Is that the best way? No, it's the second best way. So some of these fiber ones on the market are very, very good. Now, in gut health microbiome, you need fiber a lot of times. So why this is coming up, I believe, is a trend, is because carnivore diet and those kind of things where you don't eat a lot of vegetables, kind of like the old Atkins, is basically what carnivore is. They just renamed it. And a lot of times you won't eat enough fiber. And what happens is your gut bacteria struggle, because gut bacteria are alive. They're organisms. And so a lot of times you have to, feed these, and their food is fiber. So just remember that as you go. That's one of the main kickers, right? That's why fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, those kind of things are so good, because it comes with the probiotic plus the fiber, right? So that's why you hear, some of you will hear like prebiotic, or what is that? It's basically fiber that's ready for these probiotic bacteria that go into your gut. So I'm so excited too, guys. I'm learning how to do online courses. Ah, I'm like addicted. So that's really cool. So that we'll even have a whole gut microbiome course, at some point. So, but for the meantime, tonight is just remember, that's why fiber is important. High fiber could depend on the time. Like I would say, definitely do that, like once in a while. You don't have to do it all the time, as that goes. But I would say a nice balanced, if you're eating good, if you have that holistic balance, right? You have your good carbs like veggies and all those things, and your meats, right? And you have both of them, and it's a nice balance. You'll always probably have enough fiber, but fiber can help move some things out, right? That's a good thing. Okay. Now the next one is wearable devices. I think that's what she said. It's funny because the other thing I look for trends is Gina was right on it this time. Fitness trackers, are they worth the hype? And I would say yes. I would have to say yes, but we're going to talk about that. So I'd have to say yes, but you always got to remember our body's energetic, right? And so some of these fitness trackers can screw with the microbiome. I'm sorry, I said it wrong. Our human, our biosphere, our energy, our chi, our chakras, all those chakras. We have this bioenergetics. It actually runs like 5 feet from our body. Okay. So we have our own biofield. That's what the word is. Biofield is the word. Sorry, guys. So the biofield is what is emulating from us. And we went through that in the last Whole Health Weekly, where I literally showed you people flying a drone with just their brain, their thoughts. Okay. And so with this biofield, a lot of times you'll get, if you have any interferences with that, then you can have issues. So some of these trackable the devices, because they're reading some of that biofield, can interfere. So a lot of times I'll tell people wear them cautiously, in the sense of don't wear them all the time. Some of the trackable fitness devices kind of force you or lead you to wearing it all the time. And I would say that's a mistake, especially when you're sleeping. Maybe one night you could do it and check your sleep that way, but super important to have, no electromagnetic EMF, electromagnetic field radiation, like while you're sleeping, because we were trying to reset at that point. So I would say there's some good to it, because some people are counting their steps and they may never have done that, or, check it. Now I worry about people that overcheck their, like, let's say blood pressure, because some of these technologies are going to get to the point where you're going to be able to check a lot of stuff that you used to have to go to the doctor for. And that's good in some ways, but also petrifying in others, because if you allow it to get into your brain of all these like little checks, you're going to freak yourself out too. So just be wary of that. Like if you just kind of check it for the good stuff, like I've always thought the step trackers were great, because that was neat. You'd watch people like lose weight basically on it, because you started walking or had challenges with other people. Blood pressure, now they're going to have things where you can check your sugar all the time. Those are, I guess they're good, but just put them in their place where they should be, and don't freak yourself out. That's my biggest thing on those. So that's my suggestion on those. So now let's go look at some trends, shall we? All right. Good job, Gina, by the way. Hopefully, if she's watching, that was pretty good. The wearable tech was like on the number one on the list this week. Still in 2025, one of the biggest trends still is gut health. This is what this says. People are increasingly prioritizing digestion as a cornerstone of overall wellness, with a noticeable shift towards probiotics, prebiotics, and fermented foods. We're a little ahead of the trend. This week, there's been chatter about new clinical studies highlighting specific probiotic strains, like those targeting metabolic health, that could shake up the supplement market. Expect brands to push transparency on efficacy as consumers are getting savvier about demanding evidence-backed products. Good. Okay, so let me give you a little situation on probiotics. So probiotics, here's the thing that people don't tell you. There's 4 trillion cells. There's 4 trillion gut bacteria. So a lot of times when people tell you that it's the next best one, I really get concerned. Because here's the problem. There's 4 trillion gut bacteria, ladies and gentlemen. And so there's going to be people going, ooh, I got the next one that's going to fix this problem, this gut bacteria. Remember how the genetics was? All of a sudden, if you had this gene, you got to have this, this supplement and all that. That's still around, but you take it for what it's worth. Is it worth a huge cost on something that we know that you can change your genes with, your whole health in general, right? So with the probiotics, I saw it coming as they were doing it because they haven't dissected and got down to the different gut bacteria. We've got a couple. We got lactobacillus and there's another one that we've gotten down pretty good. However, you're going to have to be very discerning on like how you understand your probiotics. Most of the ones on the market are pretty good. Now, the reason I like fermented foods a lot is because you don't have to worry about it, because they have so much. A fermented sauerkraut has so much probiotic in it that with a range, we don't know what kind of bacteria is in there, that could help you in all kinds of facets. So now you're not guessing as much. So I really, really like, going after a really good probiotic, just making sure it's solid with a prebiotic in it. You should have a probiotic with fiber in it. Okay. So a prebiotic type situation. And typically you want it stored cold, I would think. I'm not sure. There's some liquids out there. There's some really good products out there. You just have to make sure you do your own research. Okay. So do some really good, diligent research on like what you're taking. Okay. So that was a good one. All right. So because we did wearables already, that was number 2 on the list of trends. On the fitness front, hybrid workout models are gaining traction. People are blending in-person gym sessions with virtual classes. And this week, there's been talk about gyms rolling out more sustainable features. Like, oh, that's interesting. Renewable energy powered equipment. It's not just about breaking a sweat. It's about aligning fitness with eco-conscious values, especially in the younger crowds. Okay. That sounds pretty cool. I like the idea of the hybrid, though. Many times, one of the hardest things about gym memberships and everything else is it's hard to get there, especially when people are working as hard as they are, every day. So getting to the gym is great, but sometimes if you're not able to get there, then you start feeling guilty that you didn't get there, and then you stop working out. And that's basically the consciousness, the subconsciousness of guilt is usually the culprit of people not working out, right? And so if you did something where it was a hybrid, where you went 2 times a week to the gym, but then the rest of it was virtual or at home, I always recommend an at-home workout setup anyway, because then it's really hard to not do it. And eventually, the people that I see that are real successful do that quite a bit. So that's pretty cool. And then the eco-friendly, of course, if you're running on that treadmill, maybe it turns on the lights or something. That'd be kind of cool. I saw this old show. When was that? was one of those, like, it was on HGTV or something where this one famous actor would have a bike. He wanted to do everything eco. So he had a bike in his kitchen and he had to get on the bike to run I think it was the toaster or the microwave. And it was kind of hilarious because you could see it in his face. He was annoyed that he had set this up because he just wanted to have something to eat. But he had to get on this bike, and that gave the energy or the electricity to get whatever he was eating. So it was just, I just remember, like, how long would you do that? And would you have a plug right next to it? So that always is funny, but still a good idea. All right. And then the last one is the last trend I think is pretty good is there's a dietary shift making noise, but it should have been making noise forever. Cutting out processed foods. Surveys and sentiment online points to America's betting big on this for 2025, with a focus on whole foods driving energy and longevity. This week, expect to see influencers and health buffs doubling down on recipes that ditch the junk and possibly spurred by new data linking processed diets to inflammation. Well, if you've been with me any length of time, whether this is your second thing or you've been with me for a long time, you know that processed food is the tougher, like we'd always want to go towards our more natural foods. Kind of cool. Like if you go look up, one of the things that's neat online, go look up superfoods. I thought that was cool. So superfoods, kale, blueberries, chia seeds, things that are super rich density nutrients, are something to look up. And you can just kind of incorporate that into your diet currently. So I thought that was kind of a cool idea. Find the best energetic foods out there and go after them, right? And then if you can start adding those as like little add-ons, you're gonna be very happy. No one's gonna ever just reverse processed foods, right? We're gonna have to, keep going and add the good foods as you go, right? And then now spring is here in Michigan, so that'll be pretty cool. We got to wait a little bit, but we'll start having the good garden fresh stuff, which is the best energy stuff out there. All right. I think that is it. And I'm seeing, oh yeah, on that front, there's a few fast food places changing. I'm seeing it. Steak and Shake was one of the first. I'm seeing Buffalo Wild Wings, but beef tallow is a big deal. People don't realize how bad seed oils are. They've kept it out of the news for a really long time. Seed oils could be potentially the deep fried stuff that they use in like all the fast food chains. That might be the number one kicker for, of especially America being, having the issues we've had with cholesterol, overweight, and all those kind of things, is that kind of thing. So if we had a trend towards more natural things, especially in the deep fryer, because that's where everything tastes the best, if beef tallow becomes a thing, it's much, much better option than anything else. Okay. So that, my friends, is some of the trends. And now I'm going to go into the latest from my buddy. Oh, I don't know him personally. Maybe one day I'll get him to interview on here. But Dr. Mercola. Dr. Mercola is my go-to site. He's a medical doctor that is all things natural. But he has a ton of good articles. Like, so if you ever get on his website, it's totally worth it. All right, let's go into some of his articles. Okay. All right, here we go. This one's pretty good, and it goes along kind of with everything holistic that we love. Gut health's impact on mental well-being. Research, this is by Dr. Mercola. So research reveals the surprising connection between your gut bacteria and mental health. Microscopic organisms in your digestive system could be the key to understanding depression and anxiety. So I don't read the whole article. However, we get the bullet points. Gut bacteria called this one's called Morgani, produced unusual fats that contained DEA. It's a diethylamine, an environmental micropollutant that the fats trigger inflammation that contributes to major depressive disorder. Okay, so this is a gut bacteria that's bad. Okay, so it created this toxic stuff called DEA, and that was creating bad things where your body was saying, "Hey, that's an enemy," and so it was getting rid of it. The gut-brain axis operates bidirectionally. Okay, so what they mean by gut-brain axis, gut and brain are connected. So so if the brain, let's say your good example is, let's say you're going through anxiety, your gut feels that, right? So that, you have a gut feeling, right? And those feelings are whatever's happening in your brain as well. So this gut brain axis acts in both directions. Gut dysbiosis, which if the gut bacteria is off, that's basically what that means, causes systemic inflammation that affects your brain, while brain inflammation can disrupt your health or your gut health, excuse me. That's crazy. That's a good one in this article. Okay, so think about that. Gut microbiome is messed up, which is in a great deal of the population. That will cause inflammation that will affect your brain. And then if you have the reverse, where you had brain inflammation, it will actually disrupt your gut health. One reason I like doing this show is I learned some stuff. That one's pretty cool. I actually have a patient that it was an auto accident with a head injury. And I think we know what this could add to what we're doing for her. Anyway, disruptions in gut bacteria lead to increased intestinal permeability. Well, what you guys know in this world is leaky gut. So increased intestinal permeability means things are getting out of your gut that shouldn't be. Okay, so your gut has it's like think of a net or a sifter, right? So one of these sifters, you're sifting for gold, and then the holes in your gut get too big, and so all the gold falls out. Okay, so that's what leaky gut would essentially be. This allows harmful substances to enter your bloodstream and trigger systemic inflammation. Neuroinflammation shifts tryptophan metabolism towards what they call a different pathway. I won't hurt you on that one, which produces substances that contribute to glutamate exotoxicity, in turn damaging brain cells and contributing to depression. So this is a pretty technical one. I'm apologize. Restoring gut health requires a comprehensive approach. We talked about it. Sometimes I'll have to have somebody come into the office and we walk them through a comprehensive approach, including eliminating vegetable oils, which is what we talked about. That's the seed oil stuff. Avoiding endocrine disruptors, could be medications, those kind of things. Optimizing your fiber or carbohydrate intake, and carefully introducing beneficial bacteria into your system. So that was a lot. But that was a really good article and it showed me a lot. So if you have that is something, let's say somebody's struggling with that, depression, anxiety. What if you get their gut health better, right? The patients that I've had that have gone through the gut health part and it was the major kicker of their condition, their mood changes pretty dramatically. And so I can attest to that it makes sense. Think of when you're hypoglycemic, when you're hangry. Hangry is another good word. So hangry shows you and proves to you that there's a gut-brain connection. And so it is imperative that we start taking care of that gut for our brain health. Okay. So that's really cool. So that's something to understand as we go forward. All right, let's go to a different article tonight. Oh, let's go. Some of them are. Ooh, this is kind of cool. Let's go into marigolds. Okay, so marigolds, which is always a beautiful thing. Marigolds are a functional food rich in nutrients and antioxidant. Did you know that? Did you know you can eat marigolds? This edible golden flower doesn't just make your garden look amazing. They also pack an impressive array of nutrients that help support your immunity, eye health, and more. Marigolds is a rich source of lutein, tocopherols, and phytosterols, which support eye health, immune function, and cardiovascular wellness when incorporated into your diet. The Superboy Orange and Durango Red varieties contain the highest concentration of carotenoids, making them the best options for functional foods and dietary supplements. Marigolds actually provide lowering phytosterols, particularly beta cytosterol, which reduces cholesterol absorption and supports heart health without the need for pharmaceutical intervention. That's pretty cool. This is from Dr. Mercola again, article wise. Some marigold cultivars don't know what that means, contains anti-nutrients like tannins and alkaloids, but soaking, drying, and fermenting the flowers significantly reduces these compounds and improves nutrient absorption. Interesting. So if you soak them and dry them, or you ferment them, which I may actually try, you can actually eat them. To maximize their health benefits, consume marigolds with healthy fats such as ghee, grass-fed butter, and to enhance the bioavailability of lutein and other fat-soluble nutrients. So that's cool. Who would have thought? Add marigolds to your list. Hopefully you like that one. I like that one. You wouldn't have thought of that. But what's cool is marigolds, a lot of people put them around your garden anyway, and they're beautiful. So it's one of the things that we talk about in the 1% tribe. One reason I got into the herbalism side, I'm a registered herbalist. I'm not there yet clinically. I think I got like 100 more. You need 800 hours to be a clinical herbalist. That's kind of amazing, actually. I love it. And so I keep taking different things. However, one of the reasons I did that was because I always thought it would be so neat to actually watch us plant our beautiful flowers around us that are dual purpose, that are not only beautiful, like echinacea, marigolds now, dandelions. You know how I feel about dandelions. That's really what got me started on the whole journey. Dandelions are the number one gallbladder detox in the whole world if you do their greens and those kind of things. But we kill them, and we could actually we could do some really good stuff out of that. However, if we started planting our stuff where these are like reproducible to us, it could be really, really good. So just remember that one's good. Marigolds, I like it. All right. Let's get to. Okay, so I want to go over this again because it's super important. This is another good article, but I gotta push it because we gotta get a more understanding on vitamin K2. Okay, so the crucial connection between vitamin K2, calcium metabolism, and disease prevention. Okay, so K2, calcium together, and then the disease prevention. So there's K2, there's K3. Okay, so we're going to talk about K2 tonight. K2 directs calcium into your bones instead of arteries, okay, which helps keep them strong and reduces calcification that leads to heart disease. Okay, so that's kind of cool. Sometimes we take too much calcium with it, not knowing where to go, increasing our arterial calcification. So think about that. If we have K2, it kind of forces it to go into the bone where we kind of want to need it. So think about this in a holistic before I keep going. So holistically, we want to make sure that whatever we're taking has a place, right? So you can take, like, calcium's a great example. Calcium will stay floating in your bloodstream, a lot. It's because your body always needs it, right? And that's great that you have enough calcium. But what if you have too much, right? You can have issues happen, and so if you have just enough calcium, but you had enough K2 to make sure you're storing that where it needs to go, you'll help that blood or your bone health quite a bit. A recent nutrients review revealed that a higher K2 intake improved bone mineral density and slashed fracture risk, particularly among older adults and postmenopausal women. So making sure if you're postmenopausal woman or older, you're taking K2 with your calcium. Your apolipoprotein A genotype influences how your body processes vitamin K2. So that's a certain kind of protein genetically. Okay. So don't worry about that one. There's certain people's genetics in their protein structures that do it better than others. Okay. So that's what that means. All right. And then I think that's it. So, here, to direct calcium where it belongs. Okay, so this is the last part without getting into the nitty gritty there. So to direct calcium where it belongs, balance vitamin K2 and D3 together and get enough magnesium. Okay. And here's the kicker. Avoid vegetable oils. Avoid those seed oils because that messes up that whole process. So you hear it all the time. I need to take calcium, but I need K2. Well, you also need D3. And you also need magnesium to make it all work together. Why? Because the body is intelligent. It's innate intelligence within, needs all those pieces. If it has all the pieces and it has just enough of them, then you're really going to get a good result, which is crazy that you need all that stuff. Speaking of that, if we're talking about that, you can scan this little QR code in the corner. You can get your K2, your D3, and magnesium from this place called FullScript. It's like Amazon, but everything in there is vetted by the lady that's Dr. Low Dog, who I put out a call to. She might do an interview with me. One Dr. Low Dog and I think 30 other doctors that vet everything that goes through this website. It's called FullScript. It's fantastic. Okay. So we'll do one more article. I want to find a good one for you guys because it's been really good lately. But just remember marigolds we talked about tonight. K2. That's a really good one to remember because there's K2 and K3, right? And K2 is the one for our bone health. And let's end it on a good. All right, let's do. Yeah, I still like this one. Okay, so I'm going to go over this one. I kind of went over it on 1% Tribe, but we're going to read the whole thing. This one is an article by Dr. Mercola again, but it's plyometric exercises help older adults build strength and prevent falls. I really, really want to concentrate on this because I think if we started implementing this in our exercise routine, we're going to be so much better off. I really, really believe that. So plyometric training, which includes jumping and hopping exercises, helps older adults improve muscle strength and balance, as well as bone density, but it improves your bone density, reducing their fall risk and fractures. Older adults who engage in supervised plyometric exercises experience significant improvements in lower body power, making everyday movements like standing up and walking safer and easier. Even short-term plyometric training, lasting as little as 4 weeks, resulted in huge gains, agility, and balance, with the most significant results seen in those who start with lower baseline strength. Upping the intensity of exercise stimulates bone growth, and by triggering your body's natural bone building processes, which is your innate intelligence, right? making plyometric training an effective way to combat osteoporosis and increase your skeletal health. When combined with resistance training, plyometric exercises provide the best overall benefits for muscle function and fall prevention, helping other adults maintain independence and mobility as they age. Why is that important? Because most of us don't even jump. We don't even jump in the air anymore. Give me the last time. Anybody in the comment want to say, hey, last time I went jump roping or I skipped. Skipping is plyometric, right? One of the things we forget in that beautiful thing as a child is those are the cool parts, right? Those are the cool parts of being a kid, jumping and going, remember how you felt as a kid when you jumped? I'll give you a story before we end today. My dad, okay, so he built this amazing tree house for us. It was like, I actually mimicked it in our backyard. It's pretty cool, but not as cool as his. His was up. So you were up in the tree, but it was like a pirate ship, but it was an open deck, basically. So it was this big open deck, but it was in the shape of a pirate ship. And we loved it. And you came up through the floor, and that was, you had the trap door and everything else. And so we would play on that for days, and you could see like 4 houses down and all this stuff. Well, I just remember us boys, we would jump off of it. And he had a rope you could try to climb up, but we'd climb down or whatever, but we'd jump off of it. Well, then one day my dad, who is a very quiet man, he sees us jumping off of it, and he looks at us and he's like, if boys, you jump off of that one more time, your asses are going to be sorer than your feet. And he doesn't say anything like that. Nothing. So we took it very seriously. So the reason this is so funny is years go by. So a few years go by, and my dad he had a good job where he could be home like right when we got off the bus. And so me and my brothers were up on the top of the treehouse before he got home. And I jump off again, like we always did when he wasn't home. And I look and I can see the road from like where the treehouse was, and I see his car pulling up. So I'm in the air coming down, and I was like, uh-oh, Dad's home. Did he see me? Because that's what, you see that, he's driving by the road, right? Well, I hit weird. I hit awkward. I didn't land correctly on the road. Or I'm sorry, it was in the grass. So it was not kind of on the slant. And oh my God, my back hurts so bad, like up between your shoulders and stuff. Couldn't breathe. But you know what happened? I never told a soul. I was hurting for weeks, and it finally healed up, and everything was good until I get to chiropractic school. This is how, so forget about the whole situation. It heals up, all this stuff. I'm like 11, 12, something like that. So I go to chiropractic school, and in chiropractic school, you have to x-ray everybody because you have to learn how to x-ray and all that. So you get a set of x-rays. So we x-ray. So, my classmates x-ray me from the head down to the low back. And the chiropractor that was our teacher goes, hey, when did you have a compression fracture? And I go, I didn't have a compression fracture. I never had that. What are you talking about? And then it dawned on me like immediately. It was like nature, universal forces. Hey, dummy, you really did have that. So do you remember? I go, yeah. Now I do. I remember that time. So I had this little squish about 12 years old or 13 or something, but I adapted to it. Never knew it was there again. So I always thought that was a cool story. But one of the things about that jumping though, get a jump rope. Seriously. It makes so much sense to me naturally, right? If your innate intelligence gets used to that jumping, even if you just jump with your hands on a counter, right? Just jump a little bit, skip in the yard. When you do that, you take your feet. Okay. So these feet that have been in these shoes for years and now are lazy because now we're just clogging along day to day, those kind of things. It engages all these feet all the feet muscles. And the foot, the arch is there because it was supposed to be a spring. It's supposed to be a spring. It wasn't supposed to just be supported, right? It was supposed to be the spring, the shock absorber, right? And if we can keep that shock absorber kind of going in that right direction, you take the pressure off your knees. If you take that shock absorber, you take the pressure off your hips and your low back. So a lot of times this makes a ton of sense to me to make sure maybe your warm up for your workout now, let's say you're in your 70s, you do some jump rope, right? Try it and you'll suck at it. That's not even a thing. We know that. But once you get going again, you'll feel it. I do it now and it's really hard. It's really hard to get going in that momentum, but it can be something you definitely can do. So, all right. I think that's all I will bore you with tonight. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoy this one. I really like doing it. I'm like a little addicted, especially to this Whole Health Week. Well, I like both of them, but the Whole Health Weekly charges me up to, be able, I just love getting into the news and seeing what's out there as well. If you ever didn't know I did this, but you want to know, I have let me put that in here, www.tribe1. Okay. So I'm going to put in the chat as well. It's called tribe1.substack.com. This is a place where you can get on my email list. I only use this for telling you when the next show is. And sometimes I think they should have all the recordings in there. I might be wrong on that because I think now I put it into the Rumble one. So for all the latest recordings and all those kind of things. So if you're interested in going back, there's some really good topics out there. This week I'm pretty excited. We're going back to the herbal on the 1% Tribe. Remember, on 1% Tribe, we do that Sunday nights at 8. So Sunday nights at 8. It's really, really fun. Any comments, make sure that you're putting it in here in the chat. Even after we end, it's okay because I'll catch it. And I want to make sure that I'm catching all of the, everybody's, topics. I'm missing one and I cannot remember. Jess, if you listen to this again, I have Jessica and she had a good topic and I completely forgot what we were going to do, but I'd like to research that one that she was talking about. Anyway, for that, you guys enjoy this gorgeous day. It's supposed to be like the warmest it's been in a while in Michigan. So get out there and hopefully get some K2, D3, some magnesium. Make sure that calcium is going where it's supposed to go. All right, guys, take it easy.